This podcast contains discussions of violent and disturbing content that may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is strongly advised. The views and opinions expressed are for informational and entertainment purposes only and do not necessarily reflect those of the podcast's creators, hosts, or affiliated parties. If you or someone you know is in need of support, please reach out to a qualified mental health professional. This episode is brought to you by listeners like you, our intergalactic fuel, and the boost behind this mic. Thanks for supporting our cosmic journey through the universe of sci-fi. On this episode of the podcast, so they noticed that the walls are cocooned in alien resin, right? Because the aliens then basically are terraform out them place in the plant where it's, supposed to be used as a terraforming plant, for humans. But the aliens making it their home. You know what I'm saying? They find answers just moments away.
Prepare for warp speed as we embark on a voyage through the vast expanse of science fiction in movies and television series. From distant planets to alien civilization, we delve into the heart of the unknown, unraveling the tales that have captured audiences for generations. Get ready to unlock the secrets of the universe on Code Flix.
Greetings, fellows sci-fi and fantasy lovers. Welcome to Code Flix, where we explore the TV shows and movies that shape our imaginations. I'm Andre Bonner, and in today's episode, we'll be looking at survival, motherhood, and the ultimate battle in space in the movie Aliens. The second installment in the Alien franchise is still a popular culture favorite, referenced, parodied, and celebrated in so many ways over the years. And with a new Alien movie and series out this year, it felt like the perfect time to revisit where it all kicked into the high gear. This time around, Ripley takes on even more aliens as she fights for survival and for the safety of a young girl, the lone survivor of a doomed colony. The bond between them adds a real human touch to all the chaos and creature terror. Seeing Ripley face off against the alien queen alongside a well-trained squad of space marines was pure cinematic energy. The horror was a little more manageable this time, and the action was just right. I'm definitely looking forward to continuing this journey with Alien 3.
Aliens is a 1986 science fiction action film written and directed by James Cameron. It is the sequel to the 1979 science fiction horror film Alien, and the second film in the Alien franchise. Set in the far future, it stars Sigourney Weaver as Ellen Ripley, the sole survivor of an alien attack on her ship. When communications are lost with a human colony on the moon where her crew first encountered the alien creatures, Ripley agrees to return to the site with a unit of colonial marines to investigate. Michael Biehn, Paul Reiser, Lance Henriksen, and Carrie Henn are featured in supporting roles. Despite the success of Alien, its sequel took years to develop due to lawsuits, a lack of enthusiasm from 20th Century Fox, and repeated management changes. Although relatively inexperienced, Cameron was hired to write a story for Aliens in 1983 on the strength of his scripts for The Terminator, 1984, and Rambo, First Blood Part 2, 1985. The project stalled again until new Fox executive Lawrence Gordon pursued a sequel. On an approximately $18.5 million budget, Aliens began principal photography in September 1985 and concluded in January 1986. The film's development was tumultuous and rife with conflicts between Cameron and the British crew at Pinewood Studios. The difficult shoot affected the composer, James Horner, who was given little time to record the music. Aliens was released on July 18, 1986, to critical acclaim. Reviewers praised its action, but some criticized the intensity of certain scenes. Weaver's performance garnered consistent praise along with those of Bill Paxton and Jeanette Goldstein. The film received several awards and nominations, including an Academy Award nomination for Best Actress for Weaver at a time when the science fiction genre was generally overlooked. It earned $131.1 to $183.3 million during its theatrical run, making it one of the highest-grossing films of 1986 worldwide. Aliens is now considered among the greatest films of the 1980s, and among the best science fiction, action, and sequel films ever made, often deemed equal to or better than Alien. It is credited with expanding the franchise's scope with additions to the series' backstory and factions such as the Colonial Marines. It inspired a variety of merchandise, including video games, comic books, and toys. It was followed by two sequels, Alien 3, 1992, and Alien Resurrection, 1997, the prequel film, Alien, Romulus, 2024, and a TV series, Alien, Earth, 2025. Ellen Ripley has been in stasis for 57 years aboard a shuttlecraft after destroying her spaceship, the Nostromo, to escape an alien creature that slaughtered her crew. Ripley is rescued and debriefed by her Weyland-Yutani Corporation employers who doubt her claim about alien eggs in a derelict ship on the exomoon LV-426, now the site of a terraforming colony. After contact is lost with the colony, Weyland-Yutani representative Carter Buck and Colonial Marine Lieutenant Gorman ask Ripley to accompany them to investigate. Still traumatized by her alien encounter, she agrees on the condition that they exterminate the creatures. Ripley meets the Colonial Marines aboard the spaceship Sulaco but distrusts their android, Bishop, because the Nostromo's android, Ash, had betrayed its crew to protect the alien on company orders. A dropship lands the crew on LV-426, where they find the battle-ravaged colony and two live alien facehuggers in containment tanks. The only colonist found is a traumatized young girl nicknamed Newt. The team locates the other colonists' signals beneath the fusion-powered atmosphere processing station and heads to their location, descending into corridors covered in alien secretions. At the station's center, the Marines discover opened eggs, dead facehuggers, and cocooned colonists serving as incubators for the alien embryos. The Marines kill a newborn alien after it bursts through a colonist's chest, rousing several adult aliens who ambush the Marines, killing or capturing many. When the inexperienced Gorman panics, Ripley assumes command and rams their armored personnel carrier into the nest to rescue Corporal Dwayne Hicks and Privates Hudson and Vasquez. Hicks orders the dropship to recover the survivors, but a stowaway alien kills the pilots, causing the dropship to crash into the station. Low on ammunition and resources, the survivors barricade themselves inside the colony facility. Ripley discovers that Buck ordered the colonists to investigate the derelict spaceship containing the alien eggs, intending to profit by recovering them for biological weapon research. Before she can expose Buck, Bishop reports that the dropship crash damaged the power plant's cooling system, and it will soon overheat and explode, destroying the colony. Bishop volunteers to travel to the colony transmitter and remotely pilot the remaining dropship to the surface. Asleep in the medical lab, Ripley and Newt awaken to find themselves trapped with the two released facehuggers. Ripley triggers a fire alarm to alert the Marines, who rescue them and kill the creatures. She accuses Buck of releasing the facehuggers to implant her and Newt with alien embryos to smuggle them through Earth's quarantine. The power is suddenly cut, and aliens attack through the ceiling. In the ensuing firefight, the aliens kill Buck, subdue Hudson, and injure Hicks. The cornered Gorman and Vasquez sacrifice themselves to avoid capture. Newt is separated from Ripley and taken by the creatures. Ripley takes Hicks to the dropship but refuses to abandon Newt and arms herself before descending into the processing station hive alone to rescue her. During their escape, they encounter the alien queen amid dozens of eggs. When one opens, Ripley burns the eggs and blows up the queen's ovipositor. Pursued by the enraged queen, Ripley and Newt reach the dropship and escape with Bishop and an unconscious Hicks moments before the station explodes, consuming the colony in a nuclear blast. Aboard the Sulaco, the queen, stowed away in the dropship's landing gear, attacks the group. The queen rips Bishop in half and advances on Newt, but Ripley battles the creature using an exosuit cargo loader, expelling it into space through an airlock while the damaged Bishop shields Newt. Ripley, Newt, Hicks, and Bishop then enter hypersleep for their return trip to Earth. Here is a detailed theme and symbolism analysis, followed by a conclusion tying everything together. Themes. 1. Motherhood and protection. At its heart, Aliens is a story about motherhood. Ellen Ripley becomes a surrogate mother to Newt, embodying compassion, protection, and resilience in contrast to the cold, mechanized world around her. The alien queen, on the other hand, represents a monstrous version of motherhood, nurturing and protecting her brood with the same ferocity as Ripley, but devoid of empathy. Their confrontation symbolizes two opposing maternal archetypes, one defined by love and self-sacrifice, the other by biological instinct and consumption. 2. Humanity versus corporatism. The Weyland-Yutani Corporation embodies corporate greed and moral detachment. The company views the xenomorphs not as threats but as assets for military and scientific exploitation. Ripley's warnings are dismissed, highlighting how profit and ambition often override ethics and human life. This critique of capitalism, particularly in the militarized, industrialized future, makes the film a dark reflection on how institutions sacrifice individuals for power. 3. Militarism and false security. The colonial Marines arrive confident, armed with superior technology, and convinced of their invincibility. Their failure underscores the limits of human arrogance. Advanced weaponry and bravado crumble against the alien hive's primal efficiency. Cameron, who had seen the Vietnam War's echoes in global politics, structured the Marines' downfall as a commentary on technological hubris, the idea that power and firepower cannot substitute for understanding or adaptability. 4. Survival and trauma. Ripley's return to LV-426 is a psychological descent back into trauma. She suffers from post-traumatic stress, haunted by the loss of her previous crew and her daughter, as revealed in the extended cut. Her choice to go back isn't just heroism, it's confrontation, catharsis, and reclaiming agency over the terror that once controlled her. The film becomes an allegory for facing one's fears and transforming trauma into strength. 5. Technology, artificial life, and trust. The synthetic android Bishop represents technological redemption. After Ash's betrayal in Alien 1979, Ripley's mistrust of synthetics symbolizes humanity's fear of dehumanization through technology. Bishop's compassion and loyalty counter that narrative, proving that artificial intelligence can embody ethics and empathy when freed from corrupt human motives. Thematically, this marks a shift from fear of machines to a more nuanced exploration of coexistence with them. 6. Gender, power, and equality. Aliens redefined female heroism. Ripley is neither sexualized nor sidelined, she is competent, moral, and physically capable, a genuine leader. Her confrontation with the alien queen is a feminist statement, female power unbound by patriarchal or corporate control. Cameron's framing of Ripley as both nurturing and fierce challenged gender stereotypes in 1980s action cinema. 7. Hive society and the fear of assimilation. The xenomorph hive is a chilling mirror of collectivism, efficient, hierarchical, and devoid of individuality. It reflects humanity's fear of losing identity to systems, corporate, political, or biological. The queen's reproductive dominance mirrors the mechanization of life itself, bodies turned into tools for replication. Symbols. 1. The alien queen and the hive. The hive symbolizes perverted creation, reproduction as infestation, motherhood as consumption. The queen, like a dark mirror of Ripley, represents fertility twisted by survival instinct. 2. Power loader, exosuit. Ripley's use of the power loader in the climactic battle isn't just action spectacle, it's a symbol of human ingenuity and empowerment. The machine becomes an extension of her will, a fusion of maternal protection and industrial power. The "I get away from her, you bitch" moment is both literal and symbolic, motherhood fighting back against monstrous imitation. 3. LV-426, the colony. The planet itself symbolizes human colonization and exploitation, turning hostile environments into resource zones without understanding their dangers. The abandoned colony and its infected settlers mirror the consequences of greed and scientific arrogance. 4. Newt's doll head, Casey. Newt's broken doll symbolizes lost innocence and the destruction of childhood under industrial and alien forces. Yet her survival, then Ripley's protection, also embody hope. 5. Fire and purification. Throughout the film, Ripley uses flame as a purifying force, burning the hive, cleansing the infestation. Fire becomes a spiritual symbol of renewal and the will to reclaim humanity. Conclusion. Aliens, 1986, transcends its sci-fi horror roots to become a multi-layered meditation on motherhood, trauma, and the human cost of corporate and militaristic ambition. Through its symbolic language, from the biomechanical terror of the hive to Ripley's fierce humanity, it redefines both the monster movie and the action genre. Ripley's arc mirrors humanity's broader struggle, confronting what it has created and perverted: technology, capitalism, violence, and rediscovering empathy and courage within chaos. The film's power lies in its duality. It's both a nightmare of survival and a testament to compassion's strength in an indifferent universe. Here's a character analysis for Aliens, 1986, James Cameron's high-intensity sequel to Ridley Scott's Alien, 1979. This film expands the universe by merging horror with military sci-fi, developing Ellen Ripley into one of cinema's most iconic and complex protagonists. It also redefines the alien as a hive-based existential threat rather than a singular predator. Campus: Ellen Ripley, Sigourney Weaver. Role: protagonist, former warrant officer and sole survivor of the Nostromo. Traits: intelligent, pragmatic, fiercely maternal, emotionally resilient. After 57 years in cryosleep, Ripley awakens to find herself dismissed and disbelieved. Her decision to return to LV-426 is driven by trauma and duty, not heroism. Through her relationship with Newt, she reclaims both her humanity and maternal instincts while confronting her deepest fear, the xenomorph species. Ripley evolves from survivor to protector, symbolizing both rebirth and empowerment in a hostile, patriarchal environment. Themes represented: motherhood and protection, Ripley vs. Queen Alien. Trauma and recovery through confrontation. Humanity's defiance against dehumanization. Corporal Dwayne Hicks, Michael Bean. Role: level-headed squad leader, a moral and emotional counterpoint to Ripley. Traits: calm, capable, loyal, quietly compassionate. Hicks stands out from his more reckless comrades as a soldier who values discipline and empathy. His growing bond with Ripley is based on mutual respect and understanding, not dominance. He becomes a surrogate father figure to Newt and an equal partner to Ripley. Themes represented: Masculinity redefined as protection and respect. Partnership grounded in equality, not power. Collision Private Hudson, Bill Paxton. Role: a comic relief turned tragic figure, emblematic of human fear under fire. Traits: a brash, talkative, humorous, emotionally reactive. Arc: initially cocky and overconfident, Hudson's bravado collapses when the xenomorphs attack. Yet, despite his panic, he regains courage near the end. Game Over, Man becomes a tragic reflection of his realization of mortality. Themes represented: the collapse of false bravado. Ordinary courage in extraordinary terror. Gear: Lieutenant Gorman, William Hope. Role: inexperienced commanding officer of the Colonial Marines. Traits: book-smart but untested, bureaucratic and indecisive. Arc: Gorman's lack of combat experience leads to disaster early in the mission. His redemption comes in his final act, sacrificing himself alongside Vasquez to buy time for the others. Themes represented: redemption through self-awareness. Leadership earned through sacrifice. Fire Private Vasquez, Jeanette Goldstein. Role: a tough, fearless Marine, the embodiment of raw strength and defiance. Traits: brave, sarcastic, loyal, defiant of gender stereotypes. Arc: Vasquez challenges the machismo of her squad mates with unmatched skill and resolve. Her final stand with Gorman represents both warrior loyalty and mutual redemption. Themes represented: gender equality through strength and skill. Courage as identity. Family woman girl Rebecca Newt Jordan Carrihen. Role: orphaned child survivor on LV-426, Ripley's emotional anchor. Traits: a resourceful, quiet, traumatized yet resilient. Arc: Newt embodies the innocence that Ripley lost. Through protecting her, Ripley heals from her grief over losing her own daughter. Newt also mirrors Ripley's adaptability, both survive through intelligence and instinct. Themes represented: childhood resilience amid horror. The surrogate mother-daughter bond as redemption. Briefcase Cutterback, Paul Reiser. Role: a corporate representative of Wayland Yutani, human antagonist. Traits: charming, duplicitous, self-serving. Arc: Buck's polite exterior hides a ruthless opportunism. His willingness to sacrifice the crew for profit contrasts Ripley's selflessness. He represents corporate greed as the true evil behind the alien threat. Themes represented: corporate exploitation versus human morality. The banality of evil through bureaucracy. Crown Alien Queen. Role: a hive leader, a biological and thematic mirror to Ripley. Traits: intelligent, territorial, maternal, unrelenting. Arc: the queen is not just a monster, she's a mother defending her brood. Her confrontation with Ripley mirrors two opposing forms of motherhood, nurturing versus consuming. The final battle, Get Away From Her, You Bitch, is not just a fight for survival but for moral supremacy between two matriarchs. Themes represented: the dual nature of motherhood. Survival as instinctual morality. The cyclical nature of life and death. Production and Design Overview, Aliens, 1986. Directed by James Cameron, Aliens took the gothic horror of Ridley Scott's Alien, 1979, and reimagined it as a militarized science fiction action epic. The production design was central to this shift, combining industrial realism, futuristic technology, and biomechanical terror to create one of the most immersive and tactile worlds in cinema history. Production Overview. Director, James Cameron. Production Designer, Peter Lamont. Director of Photography, Adrian Biddle. Creature Design and Visual Effects, Stan Winston Studio. Set Construction, Pinewood Studios, UK. Miniature and Visual Effects, LA Effects Group, supervised by Robert Skotak. Filmed primarily on sound stages at Pinewood Studios and supplemented by miniature photography, Aliens expanded the universe established by Ridley Scott's Alien while grounding it in military and corporate realism. 1. Visual and design philosophy. Cameron and Lamont aimed for a combat realism aesthetic, a future that felt lived in, industrial, and functional. Everything was designed with mechanical believability and tactile authenticity rather than sleek futurism. The guiding concept, if it looks like it works, audiences will believe it. This applied equally to colonial marine hardware. Terraforming infrastructure on LV-426. The bioorganic alien hive. Each environment visually reflected the culture and technology that built it. 2. The USS Sulaco, military hardware in space. The Sulaco's design reflected a futuristic warship aesthetic, angular, utilitarian, devoid of ornamentation. Exterior miniature, a 12-foot-long model, heavily detailed with kit-bashed parts from military and aircraft model kits. Interior design. Cryosleep chamber, bright white, sterile lighting, symbolic of humanity's control and order. Weapons bay, dropship hangar, and mess hall, designed with real military and naval influences. The walls were made from industrial aluminum and steel with warning stencils, hatches, and hydraulic piping. The motion tracker prop, pulse rifles, then loaders were practical builds, heavy, metallic, then functional. Cameron's background in industrial design shaped the look of the ship, more akin to a futuristic aircraft carrier than a spaceship. 3. Colonial Marines and prop design. Military realism. Cameron and the design team worked with former Royal Marines to choreograph movement and weapon handling. Weapons design. The M41A pulse rifle was constructed from a Thompson submachine gun, a Frankispos 12-shot gun, and fabricated futuristic casing. The smart gun, used by Vasquez and Drake, was built from parts of a Steadicam rig, emphasizing physical heft and power. Costumes, designed by John Richardson, each Marine personalized their armor with graffiti, insignia, and artwork, enhancing character individuality and realism. Color palette, olive green, steel gray, and matte black dominated, emphasizing functionality over flash. 4. LV-426, terraforming and the atmosphere processor. The planet's surface was recreated on the Acton Lane Power Station, a disused industrial complex, and on Pinewood's Backlet. LV-426 access environment, perpetual darkness, rain, smoke, and industrial haze. The atmosphere processing plant was one of the largest interior sets ever built at Pinewood, a vast, multi-level complex of steel catwalks, pipes, and flickering emergency lights. Design inspiration came from oil refineries and power plants, emphasizing industrial functionality. Miniature models and matte paintings extended the scale of the colony and the plant. 5. Hadley's Hope at the Human Colony. Designed to resemble a frontier mining settlement, Hadley's Hope blended American colonial outpost influences with brutalist architecture. Interiors were modular, allowing corridors to be rearranged for multiple shooting configurations. The color scheme used gray concrete, dirty white panels, and flickering neon lighting to signify human decay and isolation. Once overrun by the aliens, the colony's hallways were covered in resinous, organic growths that merged the human-made with the alien biological. 6. The Alien Hive, a biomechanical horror. Creature and set design, Stan Winston and Peter Lamont. The Alien Hive was constructed by hand using latex, foam, and tubing, painted with black and bronze hues to resemble wet, organic material. The aesthetic fused H.R. Giger's biomechanical influence from the original film with Cameron's industrial sensibility. The aliens literally consume and reshape technology into living architecture. The hive's egg chambers, resin walls, and organic tunnels were designed to resemble veins, bones, and sinew, reinforcing the sense of infection and transformation. Lighting, low-key, flickering blues and ambers, with heavy smoke to obscure visibility and heighten tension. 7. The Alien Queen, practical effects triumph. Designed by James Cameron and Stan Winston, the Alien Queen was a 14-foot-tall animatronic puppet operated by 16 puppeteers. Built with hydraulic systems, steel armatures, and translucent polyurethane skin, it allowed full articulation of head, arms, and tail. The Queen's design fused elegance with predation, an evolved, regal counterpart to the drone aliens. Lighting was used to obscure mechanical joints, giving the illusion of seamless, organic motion. 8. Vehicles and matches. The M577 Armored Personnel Carrier, a fully functional vehicle built from an aircraft tug, with working hydraulics, armor plating, and interior screens. The dropship, miniature model photography combined with full-scale interior cockpits for practical interaction. The power loader, the mechanical exosuit designed by Cameron and built by practical effects teams, a full-scale prop operated by Sigourney Weaver and stunt operators using counterweight systems and pneumatics. 9. Cinematography and lighting. Cinematographer, Adrian Biddle. Biddle's lighting style contrasted cold steel blue for human technology with warm amber and red tones for alien-infested areas. Handheld camera movement during combat scenes added documentary realism. Smoke, strobe lighting, and silhouette framing created tension while concealing visual effects seams. The final Queen confrontation was staged with theatrical lighting, shafts of orange and blue light piercing smoke, turning industrial chaos into mythic confrontation. 10. Sound and music. Composer, James Horner. The score integrated military snare drums, brass fanfares, then dissonant strings, blending heroic motifs with shrieking horror cues. Sound design emphasized metallic resonance, hydraulic hiss, and creature vocalizations, making the environment feel alive. The pulse rifle sound became iconic, the rapid-fire metallic rhythm underscoring tension. 11. Overall aesthetic vision. Aliens redefined the visual language of science fiction by marrying realism with horror. Every design decision, from the Marines' armor to the hive's organic shapes, reinforced a world of physical texture and danger. Cameron's vision transformed aliens' claustrophobic dread into a mechanized war nightmare, where industrial machinery and organic monsters coexist in a grim dance of survival and entropy. The film's production and design remain benchmarks for tactile futurism, real machines, physical weight. Integrated world building, military, corporate, alien biologies. Practical effects supremacy, animatronics and miniatures over CGI.
So these are my personal insights and interpretations of Aliens, including some of my favorite moments and the characters. So, in the opening scene, we're seeing the events of Alien, and this is like 50 odd years later, right? Ellen Ripley has been found drifting in space inside of the Nostromo's escape shuttle, and she is rescued from hypersleep, right? So a salvage team, they bring her to the space station, which is in orbit around Earth, right? And then, she is awoken and she's basically told that, hey, you're asleep for about 57 years now and thing, and a lot has changed and all of that. Yeah. I must talk about the fact that they went all out with the initial chest burster scene, right? Because it's even though it's a dream, right? Ellen is having nightmare and it looked real, right? Initially, and then you realize yes, and my nightmare she a dream. She dead here upon the bed and thing, and then she just like she couldn't breathe, and then see the alien just pop out, out of her chest. I mean, like, yeah, them never ramp, right? And sprinkled throughout the movie is a lot of that, right? After all, it's aliens, right? Yeah. So, essentially, Ripley is asked to go back to LV-426. That's the planet that they found the aliens on because them got terraform the planet, So it's been 57 years and them terraform the planet and everything now. So the planet no longer is how it is initially, right? It has been basically given a stamp of approval for people to live on that planet, and you'd love to know, and I would love to know how it is that that was decided upon. But anyways, we digress too much from that. Yes, so Wayland Yutani is the group that has been the company essentially behind all of this. And she basically I tell them, so listen, what she experienced is, what I'm saying, is way too real, and them not believe, like them not believe her and thing. But I think in some ways they know what's going on, right? Them know what's going on, but them are try to cover it up, Anyways, them dismiss our story and say, them not have much evidence, and that the human colony now has 400 and odd people on it, right? So after the chest burst that scene, within when our nightmare, she basically then come back to her, ask her to join them on a space marines and on a mission, right? Because them lose contact with the colony, right? And so them want to know, what really happened now. And them is like, as some me tell you, so they me feel like they believe her in a some way, but like them they must say them now their investment to go through the roof or something. You know what I'm saying? So them just try to hold back things, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. When it goes through the roof, it's more of profit. But I mean like losing money. Right? Them don't want to lose their investment, Yeah. Them, have Carter Burke, who is the company representative, and him seem like a nice guy, him a try to be nice and thing, but the way how him a come across, that's why I say me feel like him pressure her into going back to the planet even after she tell him say no, I'm gone through this, I'm a trauma that I mean I really want to go back, Yeah. And especially because you guys never believe me and I act like so no believe me and know you want my help. Like, yo, what you take me for? You know what I'm saying? She meets the leader of the Marine Corps unit that's gonna go, and he basically, tell her, say, hey, you just gonna just come as an advisor and listen, we are well equipped as Marines, we got guns and everything there. My lady's like, I don't think your guns never gonna be enough still enough, but all right. So she gives up. And that's why I feel like she was pressured into it. So they go on board the Sulaco, right? And Ripley gets to meet the Marine squad, right? So there's Hicks, Hudson, Vasquez, Drake, Apone, and some others, right? From the get-go, you know what I'm saying, just see Private Hudson, you can see say, boy, he is scaredy cat. He's like the scaredy cat of the group, you know what I'm saying? Especially when you see, them are tricky with the whole hypersleep thing and whatever, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you can see say, they have the synthetic robot, the android Bishop, him come in and you see and he start stab and and fingers them, in that game that they play where they stab between the fingers and things. So he lays his hand over Hudson's hand and Hudson is like, yo, what you trying to do? You know what I'm saying? So that well establishes the type of crew and the different personalities that we have in this movie. And of course, you know that Ripley, she's not happy to be working with another synthetic robot after what happened the last time. Okay, that's a part of the trauma too, because say is a synthetic humanoid robot, and the way how that one did behave, you don't know if that one ain't gonna do anything even worse. So you definitely don't want to be around them, right? Anyways, they gear up and on their way, having some discussions about what to expect and thing, and Ripley is asked to give her take on what is happening. And Ripley attack and is like, Vasquez must say something and say, and she's like, no, you need to take this thing serious, because this is what happened to me and thing and Ray, and she start raise her voice. Cause she say, you behave like say, you think say one simple little thing, which is basically, an essential foretelling and foreshadowing of what is to happen, further down in this movie. So they get on a drop ship from the ship that take them there, and it lands them in where the deserted colony is, right? The center of it. So of course the Marines go in first, what I'm saying, to make sure so them secure the area and all of them thing there and whatever. After 10 minutes, the man them just look around, the immediate area, and Lieutenant Gorman is like, yeah, the area is secured. Ripley's like, what are you talking about? Area secured. You know what I'm saying? What are you talking about? You're not even look around good. I see the place secure, right? Them see the motion trackers that them have show some faint movement, but no life signs, right? So that's very important for what is gonna happen, because yeah, you know what I'm saying? Them have that tech in this movie, and they're able to see life signs, but them not see any life signs, but only seeing movement, right? Now them discover a medical lab where them find 2 dead facehuggers that have been preserved in tubes, and basically they were being studied, I guess, and thing. And of course the area look very ravaged, right? Because it seemed like, some kind of battle or something destructive happened right there. Now, a small girl named Newt, she is found, lone survivor, and she was hiding in the air ducts. Zine. So obviously she seemed to be the only survivor, and Ripley comes out here because she basically followed the little girl into the place, and she tried to calm her down. Had her calm down, to a certain level still, Yeah. So Newt tells them that the creatures them come from the processing plant. So of course, that as something where them have to go investigate. And of course she looks very feral. Very feral. Of course, as the only thing that could necessarily have caused that is some serious trauma, Yeah. This episode is not sponsored by trauma, so I keep saying trauma, but it's a traumatic experience to be around the aliens and stuff. And yeah, this was something. So them decide now, so them are go use the tech where they have to track the colonists, because all of the colonists them have some kind of implant that helps them to find where their signals are, right? So then get to find them nearby at the CM processing plant, right? And the processing plant, if you haven't watched the movie yet, you go watch it, but it's what's used to terraform the planet, right? So it basically produces oxygen, right, in the atmosphere. So yeah, the facts say that is where them find the last signal, must signal something. But I tried a thing a while ago, but hey, if you don't get it, you just don't get it, right? Anyways, so there's a point where, you know, they might look on the screen and they must see some stuff, and Ripley's like, the new, go sit up front. Come in, I want you to see what going on at this, you know, because this can be, this is like reliving trauma. This now pertinent to you right now, right? So this is basically when the Marines them go into the plant, you know. Of course, the place dark, and you know the you can see so them have to take them time and go through, because they have been, you know, prepped on the fact say, hey, you know, you have to be very careful because it could be humans, you know, there, you know, want for just be shooting off like anything, right? Lieutenant Apone, he was, you know, very clear on that. The guy who plays Lieutenant Apone, big ups to him, because he have a lot of great roles in movies and things. Just that, yeah, you know, it's just that those commendations have to come after, you know, the man passed. But yeah, big up to the actor who, you know, and his family who, you know, would have supported him. So they noticed that the walls are cocooned in alien resin, right? Because the aliens then basically are terraform out them place in the plant where it's, you know, supposed to be used as a terraforming plant, you know, for humans. But the aliens making it their home. You know what I'm saying? They find human in one of the things, and at this point in time, if you have not watched the movie and you are frightened of watching it, just, you know, skip this part. So they find the colonists, you know, basically in the wall, and, you know, wakes up, you know, that taking breath kind of thing, and then, you know, panicky because one, you know, there's a people around you, and you know, two, that you have been implanted with an alien. And we get our second, right? I believe our second chestburster scene. Yeah. Yeah. So the Marines them incinerate it, of course, before it's able to try and implant itself or go, you know, attack anybody, right? Of course, that whole ruckus and everything, that awakens the hive, you know, right? Which we never realized up to this point. We just the things that the walls them they look alien because the aliens them, you know, do them thing, you know, made it their place. But actually the aliens were the wall. Literally. Like, I mean, like several them stand up right there, so, and like several of them left, right, and center above them, below them. You see aliens a pop up. Yeah. Of course, you know, them realizing so them in an ambush, you know, them affair, you know, do what them can to get themselves out of there and thing, you know. At this point in time, Gorman, him freeze up. Him freeze up in is like, you know, when he say, you know, most time his squad I get wiped out because he's back on the ship with Ripley. Not the ship, in the vehicle, right? In the tanker where they have. And he's watching on his screens because every one of the Marines, they have their own camera. They basically, you know, showing where they are and what is happening. And he's monitoring their vitals and everything. And him just I see them drop out just like left, right, and center because alien attack them and, you know, rip them up and all these things. Yeah. So in the midst of all of that and thing, Drake, Frost, Crown, and Apone get killed or captured, right? Now Ripley have to take control because she realized say Gorman nah move, him nah do nothing, him nah say nothing. And she just drive the vehicle into the hive to rescue the survivors them. You know what I'm saying? Badass, eh? she's able to rescue Hicks, Vasquez, and Hudson, right? And I think Burke was in the vehicle at the time, yeah. So, she rescued them and thing, and, when she come out, one alien jump on top of the tank, and, she just floor it. She just floor it over the alien, I'm saying? Squash out the alien, right? So when she reach outside, Hicks Afia tell her, say, all right, you can let go of the control now. Okay, you reach outside, we're at a safe enough distance away from the aliens. You know what I'm saying? We'll be right back after these messages. Content warning. This episode includes detailed discussions of violence. We strive to handle these topics with care, but some content may be upsetting to certain audiences. Listener discretion is advised. This podcast isn't corporate property. No Wayland Yutani funding, no hidden agenda. Just me broadcasting through the dark, hoping someone's out there. If you can hear this, you're one of the lucky ones. Share it with another survivor, someone who still believes in science fiction, in stories worth fighting for. Leave a comment to confirm you made it out alive. Every listen, every follow, every share, it keeps the signal from dying out here in the void. Stay sharp, stay curious, and if you hear something moving in the ducks, it's already too late. So, them end up have to go back to the operation center and thing and, try to figure out what their next move is. You know what I'm saying? In the whole, kerfuffle and, crazy events, Gorman was hit on the head, so he knock out Cole. So Hicks have to basically take charge, and so he, with the help of the others, they were able to discover that the reactor was damaged during the fight, and it exploded in less than 4 hours. So Ripley said, listen, we need to get out of here. We need to get out of Dodge. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they telling us, now come here. Well, she never said that, but, I be thinking the same thing. I was like, but tell her said, we don't want to come here, and soon make me come in. You know what I'm saying? I dig. So, then call for the dropship where they carry them in and thing, and the people them, with that. The pilots are killed by a xenomorph who went on board the ship. Yeah, one xenomorph went on board the ship, and basically, when the ship come close, it nearly crashing and people them have to duck for cover. And of course, Burke he no agree with the fact that them want to destroy the site, right? And thing, cause in company and thing, he's one of the guys that work for the company and thing, and he's a company man. He's a good company man, I say there is this shot right then and there where they're standing after the wreckage of the chopper and the dropship. I mean, and yeah, it might as well be a chopper, right? But there's this nice hero shot with Ripley standing in front and Newt behind her, but she's on top of something, so she's almost at chest height. And you can just see the way how them just appears as the camera comes up to them. That, what I'm saying, made the whole movie for me, right? And of course, Hudson again, as I mentioned, he's just going wild now because you must say he don't know what they're gonna do and what's gonna happen to them, and he don't want dead and all of these things. And Ripley, I feel be like, calm down, you know what I'm saying? Calm down. And she have to get him working and thing because he's supposed to pull up some plans for the place so them can properly cordon off and lock them location, secure them location. You know what I'm saying? Make sure I say that all entrances and all exits are locked. tight. Make sure say them seal themselves inside, 'cause them a wait, for them have some time to get things sorted out, right? And them even set up some automated sentry guns to hold off the aliens them. And of course, Hicks and Ripley, they get a little close and thing. You can see the banter between the two of them. You can see the relationship a brew and things. So say things are going, right? So Ripley put Newt to bed and, basically promised to keep her safe. Say, don't worry, you know what I'm saying? Newt is like, don't leave me, but Ripley, assures her and reassures her, say, she's right there. She's watching her on the camera, So as them there and thing, Ripley get a gun tutorial from Hicks how to use a gun. Cause Hicks realized say, I'm badass this, just like myself. So yeah, respect due and thing, and that even builds the morale even more between the two of them, get them close. So when they come after that, because Hicks said to her, say, to Ripley, how much sleep you get so far? You know what I'm saying? And she's like, none, zero. I said, no, man, you need to get some sleep. You know what I'm saying? You can't, focus. You can't, act and all of that. So she decides, say, she'll go return to Newt room and thing. Key thing, she takes the gun that she just was, learning to use with her into the room, sets it down on the bed, right? Because when she goes, she don't see Newt on the bed any at all. But then when she look, Newt underneath the bed. So she goes under the bed and she joins her. She wraps her close and, fall asleep beside her. When Ripley wake up, she see something turn over in her room and broke. Like one of them jar there, broken. So she wonder to herself, say, huh? What's going on? So she start to go now for her gun. So she go and look on the bed. When she look on the bed, no gun is on the bed. And then out of nowhere, we see one of the alien them, the thing, the farm, the one where, the face huggers farm, trying to get our face and things. She have to use the bed for wedge between her and the bed, cause you know what I'm saying. And then she hurry up and wake up Newton. The both of them run out from underneath the bed. Then realize it's about two face hugger in her room, and the two of them are come after them, right? And the two of them hold them off and thing. Now, remember that camera that was supposed to be watching Newt in the room? Burke, no, turn off the camera. Can you see him they plan it up, Alright, it come to light, say him make them go in there, the two face hugger, let them in there. Right? One face hugger that trying to latch on to Ripley one at a time and thing, and it looked like so she was a goner for good. But then Hicks him realized that something was going on and thing, because they were able to raise an alarm and thing, and she come in her room, broke the glass. Him have to broke the glass and broke in and thing, and the rest of the crew come in and them save them just in time. Because I tell you, the Newt was having her face ago what she have to deal with, and Ripley have the one with almost a latch her face. Like she literally have I try to use her hand for hold off the face hugger from her face. So when she go back, she talk to them, when she almost calm down, she tell them, say, listen, a Burke do this, right? A Burke orchestrate the whole thing, because she had found out earlier, say, Burke are the one who secretly send the colonists to the derelict ship to collect the specimen. So him cause it. His goal was to smuggle the alien embryos them through the quarantine using Ripley and Newt. So a big confrontation with she and him, and before him can do nothing, the power just cut out. And the alien them breach the perimeter. Now, them things say alien are gonna come through the door. When you check it out, the alien them already in the room. Can you believe that? The alien them reach the room, Rasta. So above them, there are some areas, like a little vent up at the top. And Hicks, him look up there, with the thing there, him see the alien, them start come through. They realize what going on. So them affair basically try and get themselves out of that situation there. Them Vasquez and Hudson, them try and get several of them on thing, but them get cornered, right? So they get taken out. Gorman, him did get injured, and him and Vasquez basically get stuck in between the rest of them who are trying to escape. But they luckily had a grenade on them, so it helped to kind of slow down the amount of aliens that be coming after them. Burke, him get killed by one alien in the corridor when he, you know what I'm saying, when he flee. Yeah, so, he got his, just desserts, right? It was good to see that happened. Now, Ripley, Hicks, and Newt, them escape into the vents and are able to get to a certain point. However, right at a certain point, Ripley just loses Newt, right? When them try to move fast. And when them try to retrieve her and thing, and locate her back, far below where they were, one xenomorph come and basically take her before they're able to retrieve her. So Ripley, she very, very, upset about all of this and thing, and, she feel some type of way because, here it is that she said that she would protect Newt, and now Newt is in the hands of the aliens. But of course, she knows that the aliens don't kill you, they take you for implantation, right, by the facehugger. So she was hoping that she could have enough time that she could go in and get Newt herself. So because Hicks at this point would have been injured by the acid blood, and he can't manage to go anywhere, none at all, right? Now, Ripley charm herself with pulse rifle, flamethrower, grenade. I don't know what she never have with her, right? And she go in at the hive. When she go in at the hive, because she follow Newt's signal, that's how she know where to go. And she find Newt trapped in a egg chamber, right? And just when time one facehugger ready to come out, she just blow the blowtorch on it and, done it. Ripley see the guard drones them, and she rescue Newt, right? Only if you come face to face with the alien xenomorph queen. You can see say it's an enormous looking alien. That one is another regular alien. And I'm saying like the one we saw in the first movie. This one large and have like one little pouch or, thorax, extended thorax that probably allows for the laying of so many eggs, because there's a lot of eggs, and at the time when you go in a room, it actually let out one egg. So of course the queen have all of her drones and come in, but when time Ripley kind of threaten for flamethrower the eggs them, of course the queen going to want to be protective, so it's like she just tell them to back off. And as Ripley step out, she just torch nest them and destroy all of the alien queen egg them. The alien queen scream, right? Now at this point, when they realize say the queen detach herself, right? And start to run down Ripley for what she do a while ago. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Now, I forgot to mention that the android Bishop, he was tasked with a mission before they got overrun to get the drop ship, because they had like another ship in the one that took them to the planet, and so they could automatically get it, to come by controlling it. So of course he is the one that has the skill set to do it. So you know what I'm saying? He was able to bring it down, right? And that's when Ripley was able to put Hicks onto it, right? When, and then she went and did her whole thing in the Queen's lair, basically. So now she, when she escaped, now she knew to run and thing, things collapse around them, the reactors, them are melt down, one bag of sitting and gone, right? And of course, the Queen are closing Panar now because the Queen knew how to catch an elevator. So the Queen was coming up on the elevator and thing, And then, as I mentioned, why I gave the preface about Bishop just now, Bishop, he arrives in time to rescue them, right? Taking the ship in, the drop ship in for pick them up and thing. The colony explode behind them and stuff. So, things everything done this of course, because yeah, you know what I'm saying? There's no way the Queen could have escaped that. Would she? Oh yeah, she did. She was on the ship the whole time, apparently, she got aboard the Sulaco. So when Ripley comforts Newt now and thing, and right there and then, Bishop, like I say, you're a good android, Bishop. You're a good synthetic. Only for the Queen reveal herself and tear Bishop in half. Yeah, I did tell you that it would be this type of episode, right? And Ripley basically have to face off against the Queen by herself. And she, you know what I'm saying? She separated from Newt and she had to take care of herself. Now, we see she take care of herself through one corridor and thing. Only for she strap up herself in a one power load exosuit and fight the Queen in the cargo bay, Hello. You know what I'm saying? So them they them a battle it out and thing. So till Ripley open the earlock. And you know what comes next, right? If you've watched Alien, then say the classic way to get rid of aliens, right? She blows the Queen out into space, right? Yep, yep. Bishop was torn in half, as I said before, right? He's an android, but when she blew the airlock, of course, everything is being blown out into space and stuff, right? Because or sucked out into space, however you want to look at it. And so the two of them, basically have a whole, Bishop have a whole Newt from her getting flung out, right? Yeah, and eventually Ripley is able to climb up out of the airlock section and close it back, make sure it get closed, Yeah. And then we see that final scene where Ripley, Hicks, Newt, and Bishop, all them in a half, prepare for hypersleep, right? And Newt calls Ripley mommy. And Ripley, of course, smile and, closes her eyes as we just see the camera just pan over the peaceful Sulaco. Yes, that is it for my analysis and interpretations. What do you think? Here are some theories about unresolved mysteries and some plot points. So, the Alien franchise, like many other movie franchises or, series, there is a lot that they do in terms of building up the mystique, the mystery, so a lot of things have clearly been overlooked or, have been unresolved because of either their complexity or, just for the simple, reason that us fans, we love to pick apart our favorite stuff. So the very first thing that I can pick apart is the origin and purpose of the alien eggs, right, and the derelict ship. Because the crew finds the chamber of eggs, right, in the power plant and thing. And, even though the film never definitively explains how the eggs got there, right, we can see that the queen, right, in Aliens 2, right, or Aliens, I should say, because Alien was the first movie, laid the eggs, right, and then hibernated. So that's why we never saw the queen, or probably we never encountered the queen initially, right, and after a certain amount of time, leave hibernation to lay more eggs. Now, when that initial scientist who collected the eggs become a victim, right? And the crew basically had to deal with that, because they take the eggs them start to study them, because they try to figure out, how things go and all of that, right? So perhaps it's because of the curiosity of humans why, we found those alien eggs, right? Another thing that we can also look at is the colonists, right? We never really get to see how each colonist was captured and, and kept alive for incubation, right? So I wonder how it is that the xenomorph them actually maintain, this, how practical is it for xenomorphs? Because yes, them intelligent, but how intelligent are they? Are they like finding some way to feed them, to keep them, fueled enough to be able to carry their larvae, the face augurs larvae? It's something to think about. And then the whole discussion about even that, right? The aliens and, their origins and them lifespan. Like, clearly, right? Their biology remains very much unexplained at this point, right? The only way we can see that kind of thing happening, where look at how the eggs and the adults, and maybe possibly because of the time gap of time and stuff, they're able to survive over time, how long the eggs stay, without being implanted or using a host. And the fact that they're able to adapt to all sort of environment, inhospitable, for humans, and how fast they're able to develop into a full, from, implantation to a full alien, right? Another thing we can also look at is the Wayland Yatane's true agenda, right? Because the company have this obsession, very persistent, with using aliens for weaponization, right? Like many corporations do, right? They might look at some way to use it to make money, and I guess when you're at war, weapons are the thing, is what makes the money, right? And even when you're not at war too, because you use weapons to start war. But yeah, them have this capacity to make decisions immorally, right? And so a whole heap of conspiracy theories erupt because you wonder how deep the involvement is. Is it that they set up this colony for the reasons to get what they needed, So at this point, we wouldn't really know about the engineers or the space jockey, right? The engineers, for some persons who know, is from Prometheus. But at this point, you definitely don't really know much about them, right? Yeah. And then another thing is Ripley seems to be in some kind of trouble when the aliens are around, right? Ripley kind of have like a sixth sense to these things. Perhaps it's because of her trauma. I don't want to call this episode trauma, please. But it definitely has something to do with her, and maybe because I haven't looked at the other movies in the franchise except for Prometheus. Yeah. But please, if you have watched Alien and Aliens, please share your theories. Whether you agree with my theories, whether you have a favorite moment and it resonated with me, drop it in the comments. In this episode, we looked at aliens, survival, motherhood, and the ultimate battle in space. Is this what our future might look like? Journeying to a planet that at first seems harmless and quiet, only to be overrun by our first contact of aliens who are out to get us. Is this what the initial explorers that you've heard about in history have encountered? If you are a fan of history and lore, you would know that many times, even if they have encountered anything really bad, the story never comes out quite so bad. This is a very pivotal point in history that we have found ourselves in, where everything that is said, done, can be recorded and put out into the void. And then someone who has the ability or the time to research and find it will find it. The fact that you found this podcast meant that you are interested in this type of thing. And so my call to action for you this week is to continue the good work. Push forward, right? Share it with a friend and let them know that there is more to know than what they might know now. We are all in a journey of renewal and learning. And as a human race, we have to learn from our mistakes. We have to learn from others and their experiences. And so we have to be ready for that information. And if we're not ready for it, we're going to find ourselves in one piece of a pie. Maybe not an alien sucking off your face, but it could be something much worse. That is it. And that's the wrap on this episode. We've crossed another milestone, and now the mission continues as we set our sights on 2,000 downloads. If you enjoyed the ride, be sure to follow, like, and share. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you in the next one. This content is CAN-credentialed, which means you can report instances of harassment, abuse, or other harm on their hotline at 617-249-4255 or on their website at creatoraccountabilitynetwork.org.